day everyone, I am Perlin Dura and now I am discussing my assigned topic. In this chapter, we're going to discuss about RIRR of Republic Act 9514 or Fire Safety Measures. Fire safety measures is any measures including any item of equipment, form of construction or fire safety strategy that could be implemented in a building to ensure the safety of persons using the building in the event of fire. Ang fire safety kay it encompasses any strategy, equipment, or construction design to ensure the safety of building occupants. Fire safety in building structures and facilities. The RIRR of Republic Act 9514 deals with life safety from fire and like emergencies in buildings, structures, and facilities. Ang Republic Act 9514, also known as Fire Code of the Philippines, it focuses on keeping people safe from fires in buildings. It includes for how buildings should be designed using fire-resistant materials and ensuring there are enough exits for quick escape. There are general requirements. First is, in every building or structure meant for human occupancy, it must have enough exits to allow for a quick and safe escape in case of fire or emergencies. Second, building must be designed, built, maintained, and operated to ensure the safety of occupants from fire, smoke, vapor, and fumes while escaping. And the third is exits should be appropriate in type, number, location, and capacity based on the building's use. The number of people inside, available fire protection and the building site and construction type to ensure easy access for all occupants. Fourth, this means there should be no obstacles blocking the exits, ensuring everyone can escape quickly and safely during an emergency. Next is every exit shall be clearly visible. Next is fire alarm system or devices shall be provided in every building. This means that fire alarm systems or devices must be installed in every buildings. Next is if a building is big enough or has enough people in it that blocking one exit, it could put lives at risk. There must be at least 2 separate exits. This way, people have a safe way to escape. Required fire safety programs and measures. First, all occupants of building structures or facilities shall organize themselves and develop and implement fire safety programs, include among others. In addition to the requirements of occupants of building structures or facilities shall observe all pertinent fire safety. First is all occupants of building and facilities must come together to create and carry out fire safety programs. Second, in buildings rented by one or more companies or individual, each company management or individual occupant is responsible for implementing fire safety measure in their occupied areas. And the last is in building or facilities such as condominium and the like where some units of the building are not yet sold. The provision of second bullet above all shall apply. And that's all. Thank you.
So, good morning. I'm Dijon Discartin and I am the one to report classification of occupancy. So, one is assembly. So, I have a small definition here. Assembly occupancies include but are not limited to all buildings or portion of buildings used for gathering 50 or more persons for such as purposes as deliberation, worship, entertainment, eating, drinking, amusement, waiting, transportation, or similar uses. So, sa assembly is mauni siya ang pagtapok-tapok sa mga tao like 50 or more nga mga tao, and sa rason nga mag deliberation sila, mag-worship sila, mag-entertainment sila, mag-eating sila, mag-drinking, tapos mag-wait sa transportation. And this includes theater, assembly halls, auditorium, exhibition halls, museum, restaurant, drinking establishment, places worship, classrooms of 50. So basta mo na yung assembly nga basta 50 or more nga mga lahi tao kay nagtapok-tapok sila. Then sa number 2 is educational. So sa educational, occupancies include all buildings or portions thereof used for gathering of 6 or more persons for purposes of instruction. It includes schools, universities, college, and academics, and kindergarten. So sabotable naman kay ng educational kay diri tapok-tapok ang mga tao na occupani siya sa mga estudyante sa university, sa college, mga academics, and kindergarten. So sa 3 is daycare. So daycare occupancies include building or portion thereof in which 4 or more clients receive care, maintenance, and supervision by other than their relatives or legal guardian. So sa daycare is like kanang mao ni naa diri ang mga tawo nga mag-alaga si moha la baka nang by gikan sa libro kay by other than their relatives or legal guardian. Sa sulod sa 24 ka oras kay nadri ang maintenance check ka, tapos i-supervise ka, tapos naapod rin ang mga kindergarten classes that are incidental to child care occupancies by nursery school. So naadri tanan. Then number 4 is healthcare. Healthcare facilities are those used for purposes of medical or other treatment of care of person where such occupants are mostly incapable of self-preservation because of age, physical or mental disability, or because of security measures. So sa healthcare is nadri ang mga treatment or it is used for purpose of medical or other treatment or care of person. So nadri ang pag-alaga sa mga mag-maintenance gyapon, so incapable of self-preservation because of age, physical or mental health. Then sa residential board and care, number 5 is residential board and care buildings are those used for lodging and boarding of 4 or more residential not related by blood or marriage to the owners or operation for the purposes of personal care service. So mao ni siya ang mga gipang grupo nga lahi-lahi. So for example diri kay ang mga tigulang kay lahi na sila og lugar para sama diri sa nasa libro kay group housing arrangement for the elderly that provides personal care service but does not provide nursing care. Mga lahi na mga grupo na gilay-lay og arrange. Then napaisa diri kay mga handicapped person who are undergoing training in preparation for independent living. Mao na siya. Then sa number 6, detention and correctional. Detention and correctional buildings are those used to house one or more persons under varied degrees of restraint or security, where such occupants are mostly incapable of self-preservation because of security measures under the occupancies of control. So detention and correctional, kay mao na siya ang mga kanang sa mga naa sa adult correctional, so adult or youth detention facilities, adult community residential centers, adult work campus, sa mga youth rehabilitation centers, ana ang kanang adult and juvenile substance or abuse center, like kana good, like sa mga detention and correctional, mao ni siya ang naga-occupied. Go sa number 7 is residential. So residential occupancies are those occupancies in which sleeping accommodation are provided for normal residential purposes, and include all buildings designed to provide sleeping accommodation. So sa residential, kay mao na siya mga balay, mga inns, mga apartment, mga condominium, dormitory, lodging, or room houses kanang masudlan og single or two or kaning family dwellings. Yeah. Ang mga kuan na siya. So mao lang to akong report. So thank you. God bless.
Everyone, I'm Mario P. Rosales Jr. And to continue the discussion, mercantile. So this refers to stores, markets, and other rooms, building structures for the display and or sales of merchandise. So next is the business buildings. So kano siya mga business buildings is mo siya ang katong mga transaction building covered under mercantile and for the keeping of accounts and records and similar purposes. So next is industrial. So this includes factories that make products of all kinds and properties which shall include but not be limited to product processing, assembling and disassembling, mixing, packaging, finishing, or decorating. So next is the storage. So this includes all buildings na naga-store siya. So which means na siya gina-store sa sulod, like mga goods or merchandise or products or vehicle or animals. Next is the mixed occupancies. So refers to two or more classes of occupancies. So occurring or located, situated, existing in the same building and are structures as intermingled that separate safeguards are impracticable. Next is the special structures. So this class of occupancy includes buildings or structures which cannot be properly classified in any of the preceding occupancy groups. And the next is the hazard of building. So fire hazard is any condition or act which increase or may cause an increase in the probability of the occurrence of fire, or which may obstruct, delay, and hinder or interfere with firefighting operation in the safeguarding of life and property. So degree of fire hazard shall be determined by Chief MFM having jurisdiction on the basis of the nature, character of the contents, and the process of operations being conducted in the building or structure. So next, the classification of hazard contents. So the classification of hazard contents, there are three: the low hazard, moderate hazard, and high hazard. So the low hazard is those of such low combustibility that are self-propagating fire there can occur, and that consequently the only probable danger requiring the use of emergency exits will be from panic furnace or smoke or far from external source. Next is the moderate hazard. So those which are liable to burn with moderate rapidity or to give oil a considerable volume of smoke that from which neither poisonous fumes nor explosions are to be expected in the event of fire. And the next is high hazard. So those which are liable to burn with extreme rapidity, of form which poisonous gases of explosion are to be expected in the event of fire. So next is the means of egress. So the means of egress is a continuous unobstructed path of travel from any point in a building or a structure to public way. Means of egress design must consider the distance occupants travel to an exit, how far apart exits are located from one another, and the arrangement for the paths of travel within the means of egress. So that's that's all for my report.
So, good day everyone. My name is Kasha Dayundon and I'm here to discuss this my assigned topic, which is the general provisions of mean of egress. So, in the chapter 6, general provisions of exit component shall be constructed as an integral part of the building or shall be permanently affixed to it. So, why do we need general provision on mean of egress? So, general provision of mean of egress are essential to ensure the safety, accessibility, and efficiency of the building. Evacuation during emergencies such as fires, earthquakes, or other hazardous situations. This provision established the minimum requirements for the designing, constructing, and maintaining exit routes and to protect occupants and such and promote life safety. And here's why they are necessary. So the first is the life safety. So safety evacuation ensures that occupants can quickly and safely exit at a building during emergencies without injury of confusion, and also prevention of panic, clear and accessible egress pathways, and help prevent overcrowding and panic during evacuations. And the second is the code compliance. So, uh, the code compliance, there is a legal obligation. Building codes such as the International Building Code, IBC, and NFPA 101 Life Safety Code and mandate egress provisions to protect public safety. And also standardization. Uniform standards ensure consistency and safety measures across different building types and regions. And the fire safety for hazardous materials. So these are the fire safety for hazardous materials. The following is the highly flammable that may react to cause fires or explosions. And second is by their presence may create a fire or explosion hazard. And by their toxicity, flammability, or reactivity, and render firefighting dangerous, flammable, or combustible that are chemically unstable and may spontaneously form of explosive. Flammable or combustible that may undergo spontaneous reactions or explosive violence or with sufficient evolution of heat to be a fire hazard. For safety and clearance. So, what is the fire safety clearance? So, it's an official certification issued by the local fire authority or the department, and indicating that in the building structure or event complies with the required fire safety standards and regulations. And this clearance ensures that the premises unsafe for occupancy or use, minimizing risk associated with a fire hazard. Purpose of this fire safety clearance: compliance with the fire codes ensures that adherence to the national or local fire safety regulations and codes, such as the National Fire Protection Association, which is the NFPA standards, and protection of life and property, and also the approval for occupancy or operation, and risk mitigation. So there are the requirements for obtaining fire safety clearance. So they have requirements for obtaining fire safety clearance. So the exact requirements vary depending on the jurisdiction, but typically include building design review. The layout must comply with the fire safety standards and including proper exits, stairways, and fire-resistant materials, and also the fire suppression system. Presence of functioning fire extinguishers, and sprinklers and fire hoses. Dapat naka-functioning na sila. Then, emergency lighting and signage. So, adequate illumination and other signage for escape routes, and also fire drills and training. Evidence of conducted fire safety drills and trained personnel. Inspection by fire authorities. Physical inspection of the premises to verify the compliance. And also, when is fire safety clearance needed? So, when daw? So, new construction. Before occupancy of newly constructed buildings. Number 2 is renovation or alteration for the modification that affect the building's fire safety of system. Events and gatherings for the public events, fairs, or temporary structures like tents. And last is business license. For business, especially those in high-risk categories like factories, hospital, restaurant, and etc. And failure to obtain fire safety clearance can lead to fines and shutdowns or legal penalties. So this is the hazardous materials classification. Corrosive solids, liquids, or gases, flammable solids, liquids, and aerosols, flammable, inert, and oxidizing cryogenic fluids, and flammable and inert gases, organic peroxide formulations, and oxidizer solid and liquids, oxidizing gases, pyrophoric solids, and oxidizing gas, pyrophoric solids, liquid gas, toxic or highly toxic solids, liquid gas, and unstable reactive solid, liquid gas, and water reactive solid or liquids, radioactive materials, and explosive. So that's all on my report, and thank you very much, and God bless.
Good day everyone, my name is Rendel Janway Cereza and I'm going to report the high hazard contents classification. The following are the classification of high hazard contents under the RIRR of the RA 9514. The first one is the high hazard level 1 contents. The materials that present a detonation hazard including but not limited to. The first one is the class 4 oxidizers. Second one is the detonable pyrophoric solids or liquids. The third one is the class 3 detonable and class 4 unstable of solid, liquids, or gases. The fourth one is the detonable organic peroxides. The high hazard level 2 contents materials that present a deflagration hazard or a hazard from accelerated burning, including the first one is the combustible dust stored, used, or generated in a manner creating a severe fire or explosion hazard. Some flammable gases, flammable cryogenic fluids, and non-detonable pyrophoric solids in liquids or gases. The third one is the high hazard level 3 contents. Materials that readily support combustion or present a physical hazard. The first one is the flammable solids other than dust, classified as high hazard level 2 stored, used, or generated in a manner creating a fire hazard. Class 2 and Class 3 organic peroxide. And other is the Class 2 unstable materials, Class 2 water reactive solids in liquid or gases, oxidizing gases, and oxidizing cryogenic fluids. The fourth one is the high hazard level 4 contains material that are acute health hazard, including but not limited to the following hazard categories. The first one is the corrosive solids, liquids or gases, highly toxic solids, liquids or gases, toxic solids, liquids or gases. Protection levels. The occupancy needs to comply with the requirement for protection level 1, protection level 2, protection level 3, or protection level 4, as required for the material in the storage or use as defined in accordance with Chapter 6 through 21 of NFPA 400, or also known as the Hazardous Materials Code, and the latest edition of the National Building Code of the Philippines. Protection Level 1. Buildings containing quantities of hazardous material exceeding the MAQ of high hazard material Level 1 contents permitted in controlled areas shall comply with applicable regulations for Protection Level 1. It includes materials that present a detonation hazard. Protection Level 2. Building and portions thereof containing quantities of hazardous materials exceeding the MAQ of high hazard Level 2 contents permitted in controlled areas shall comply with applicable regulations for Protection Level 2. Protection Level 3. Buildings and portions thereof containing quantities of hazardous material exceeding the high MAQ of high hazard Level 3 contents permitted in controlled areas shall comply with applicable regulation for Protection Level 3. It includes material that readily support combustion or present a physical hazard. Protection Level 4. It includes material that are acute health hazard. Protection Level 5. It applies as semiconductor fabrication facilities where required by the latest edition of NBCP. That's all. Thank you.
And this is the continuation of our report. The general requirements of fire safety for hazardous materials is that the Globally Harmonized System Safety Data Sheet, or GHS-SDS. So this is a kind of document that describes composition of material and disposal information, and it must be made available at all times during the fire safety inspection. And also we have here the proper handling storage, and use of hazardous chemicals shall be in accordance with applicable the Philippine National Standards or the PNS, or what is called the internationally recognized standards. And also, when the general requirements of fire safety hazardous materials, it must be neat and clean and also orderly. And we have here the hazardous materials to be transported. Vehicles shall be properly marked with the corresponding GHS, or what we call globally harmonized system, labels and markings pursuant to the UN recommendations on the transport of dangerous goods models regulation. So the other one is no person shall operate any tank vehicle transporting any corrosive, cryogenic, hypergolic, and pyrophoric materials unless at all time such transportation there is displayed. And the other one is all buildings and facilities shall have plan for the following during an emergency: internal security and safety operations, management of hazardous materials and waste, radioactive, biological, and chemical isolation, and decontamination. So those are the following that must be planned during an emergency. So next is fire safety for hazardous operations. Hazardous operation or process is any act of manufacturing, fabrication, conversion, etc. that uses or produces materials which are likely to cause fires or explosions. So these are the following that cause fires or explosions: automobile wrecking yards, bowling alleys, resurfacing and refinishing, dust-producing machines, explosives, ammunitions or blasting agents, fireworks and pyrotechnics, repair garages, mechanical refrigeration, motion picture projection, oil burning equipment, hot works operation. So these are the causes of fires and explosions. And that's all. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Jude Andrew S. Bernaba, and I am the next reporter, and let us discuss the automobile wrecking yard. Automobile wrecking yard shall be operated and maintained with the following requirements according to RIR, which is the revision of implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act 9514 section 10.4.2.2, in which referred to the Fire Code of the Philippines, Chapter 4, for the fire safety for hazardous operations. So these are the rooms separated from the storage room or other occupancies by fire resistive walls indoors, having a fire resistance of not less than 1 hour, and any part of junk or other waste materials shall be stored, displayed, or kept in such manner as to unnecessarily hinder or endanger firefighting operations. Next is the bowling alleys, resurfacing and refinishing. No person shall construct, operate any dust producing machines such as rice mill, sawmill, feed mill, oatmeal hammer mill. So during sanding and resurfacing operations, no person shall be open to the public, and the personnel only who will do the sanding or resurfacing, and he or she must be competent with test certification for its equivalent to do the job. Next is the construction. So construction is the suitable dust collecting equipment shall be installed in accumulation of dust at a minimum interior buildings. Spaces inaccessible to housekeeping shall be sealed to prevent dust. Electrical wiring, power equipment, and lightning protection system installed. Next is the operation. Now, say during operation of the machines, if the dust explosions hazard exists in rooms or other enclosures under normal operating conditions, it shall be provided with explosion relief venting distributed over the exterior wall. It means the controls shall be designed, constructed, and installed so that the required condition of safety for personnel during operation are maintained and will be controlled. So that's